Let's talk about a coin that so many people overlook. A coin that probably slipped through countless hands at grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines without anyone realizing just how important it might be. The US 1976 one-dime coin, part of everyday American life, carries with it a story that most people would never believe. In fact, some error versions of this small 10-cent piece are worth anywhere between $66,000 to $148,000, and that kind of number is enough to turn an ordinary dime into a life-changing discovery. The 1976 dime has its roots in a unique period in American history. This was the year of the United States bicentennial, when the entire country was celebrating 200 years of independence. Patriotic designs were rolling out across U.S. currency, with special quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins minted to commemorate the event. But interestingly, the dime didn't get a bicentennial redesign like those larger denominations. The dime continued to feature President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. It seemed like a normal year for dimes, at least on the surface. What makes 1976 dimes stand out today isn't a special anniversary design, but rather the rare and unusual minting errors that slipped into circulation. These errors, whether they were the result of double strikes, off-center minting, planchet mistakes, or other unique flaws, are what transform a 10-cent piece into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors love errors because they represent true one-of-a-kind accidents that can never be replicated. Unlike mass-produced coins where millions look exactly the same, an error coin is instantly unique. That uniqueness is exactly why values can soar from a dime's face value to as much as $148,000. Think about what that means. A coin someone once tossed into a parking meter or dropped into a payphone could, under the right conditions, be more valuable than a luxury car, a down payment on a house, or even a year of college tuition. That's why coin collectors and enthusiasts spend so much time studying dates like 1976, combing through rolls of dimes from banks or inherited coin jars, hoping to find that one mistake that changes everything. The Roosevelt dime itself has been in circulation since 1946, honoring the president who guided the nation through the Great Depression and World War II and who was closely tied to the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio. By 1976, it had already been in circulation for 30 years, and while most of those coins were struck without incident, the rare errors from this particular year became the stuff of legend in the coin collecting community. Some of the most valuable errors found on 1976 dimes include double die obverse coins, where the lettering and numbers on the front of the coin appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. Collectors also seek out off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin was not perfectly centered when struck by the dies. Other highly desirable errors include coins struck on the wrong planchet. For example, if a dime was mistakenly struck on a blank meant for a cent or even a foreign coin. These are the kinds of rare accidents that instantly draw the attention of serious collectors and auction houses. The market value of these coins depends heavily on their condition and rarity, but auction results have shown how dramatically they can appreciate. A pristine 1976 error dime in uncirculated condition, with eye-catching mistakes that make it stand out, can easily sell in the range of $66,000 to $148,000. That staggering price is what gets people to search every coin jar and bankroll with renewed hope, because even though the odds are slim, someone, somewhere, will find one of these treasures in the wild. But why would collectors pay so much for what looks like a flawed coin? The answer lies in the nature of collecting itself. Perfection is easy when millions are produced with precision, but imperfection, genuine imperfection from the minting process, is incredibly rare. It's like owning a piece of history that tells a different story, not of mass production but of a fleeting mistake frozen forever in metal. When you hold such a coin, you're holding a piece of the U.S. Mint's history, a moment when the machines and the process deviated from perfection, creating something truly irreplaceable. For many collectors, the thrill isn't just in the owning but in the hunting. Stories abound of people discovering these rare error coins tucked away in jars, change drawers, or even inherited from a relative who unknowingly set them aside decades ago. That's why the 1976 dime has become such a hot topic among enthusiasts. It's a reminder that treasures are still out there, waiting to be found. Imagine going through your pocket change at the end of the day and spotting something unusual on a dime dated 1976. Maybe the design looks slightly shifted, maybe the lettering seems doubled, or maybe the coin itself feels different in weight or size. That tiny difference could be the clue that you're holding a dime worth 6 figures. That realization alone is enough to make anyone's heart race, because the leap from 10 cents to $148,000 is a leap very few collectibles can match. It's also worth mentioning that the value of coins like the 1976 dime is likely to continue climbing as more collectors enter the hobby and as the pool of available error coins grows smaller over time. Every year, more collectors chase these rare pieces, which only increases demand. Since no new error coins from 1976 can ever be created, the existing examples become all the more desirable. That's why auctions sometimes see heated bidding wars, with prices climbing higher than anyone anticipated. The world of coin collecting thrives on discoveries like this, and the 1976 dime is a perfect example of why so many people fall in love with the hobby. It combines history, artistry, rarity, and the sheer excitement of the hunt into a single small coin. And unlike other investments that require huge buy-ins, anyone with a handful of spare change could theoretically stumble upon one of these treasures. Collectors and enthusiasts often stress the importance of carefully inspecting coins, not just for errors but also for overall condition. A coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC as mint state or higher will command much higher prices than one that's been heavily circulated. That's why, if you believe you've found an error dime from 1976, it's always recommended to get it authenticated and graded by professionals. Their certification can be the difference between a curiosity and a six-figure payday. What's most fascinating about coins like the 1976 dime is how they bring together people from all walks of life. A lifelong numismatist might study it for its historical significance, while a casual finder might simply be thrilled by the sudden financial windfall. Both perspectives add to the story of the coin, and both highlight why rare error coins capture the imagination in ways few other collectibles can. So, the next time you come across a 1976 dime, don't dismiss it as just another piece of spare change. Take a closer look. Check for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual weight, or any feature that sets it apart from the ordinary. Because if you happen to have one of those rare minting errors, you could be looking at a coin worth between $66,000 and $148,000. That's the kind of discovery that can turn a casual moment into a story you'll be telling for the rest of your life. In the end, the 1976 one-dime error coin is more than just currency. It's a reminder that hidden treasures exist all around us, often in the most ordinary places. All it takes is a sharp eye, a bit of curiosity, and the willingness to look at every coin as a potential piece of history. And who knows? Your next handful of change could hold one of the rarest and most valuable coins the United States Mint ever produced by accident. Would you take a closer look? Or would you let that dime slip through your fingers? The choice could be worth up to $148,000. The 1984 United States one-dime coin may not immediately strike you as extraordinary. After all, it's just a dime worth 10 cents in everyday transactions, and millions of them were struck and put into circulation. People used them in payphones, vending machines, and laundromats without thinking twice. But in the world of coin collecting, what seems ordinary at first glance can sometimes turn out to be a hidden treasure. The 1984 dime is a perfect example of this because some versions of this coin, depending on their condition, rarity, and especially minting errors, have been valued at extraordinary amounts in auctions and private sales, with prices ranging between $55,000 and $128,000. That's right, a 10-cent coin from 1984 could actually be worth more than a luxury car or even a small home. To understand why, let's first consider the design of the dime. Since 1946, the dime has carried the portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt on the obverse, honoring the president who guided the nation through the Great Depression and World War II and whose efforts to combat polio inspired the March of Dimes. The reverse, designed by John R. Sinek, shows a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. By 1984, the design had already been in use for nearly 4 decades and was familiar to every American. Billions of Roosevelt dimes had been struck by then, so what makes the 1984 dime stand out? The answer lies in the mysteries of the minting process and the quirks that sometimes turn everyday coins into rare collectibles. Mint errors are among the most exciting discoveries for collectors. In the 1984 dimes, certain errors and varieties have captured attention and skyrocketed values. Some dimes from this year were struck with off-center errors, where the design is misaligned on the planchet, leaving part of the coin blank or oddly shaped. Others have double dies, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. These doubled features can occur on Roosevelt's face, the inscriptions like Liberty, or even on the reverse torch and lettering. Such doubling is not only striking but also rare, and rarity drives value in the collecting world. Another intriguing possibility with the 1984 dime lies in transitional planchet errors. Sometimes coins are mistakenly struck on a blank meant for another denomination, such as a foreign coin or another U.S. coin of similar size. When this happens, the error creates a one-of-a-kind piece. Collectors will pay enormous premiums for these unique accidents, and some of these error dimes from 1984 have been authenticated and sold for tens of thousands. When you combine rarity, error type, and high-grade condition, the price jumps into the breathtaking range of $55,000 to $128,000. The condition of the coin cannot be overstated. A 1984 dime pulled from circulation and pocket-worn will not fetch much beyond its face value unless it has a dramatic error. But coins that were carefully preserved, stored away, or somehow survived without wear and tear are a different story. Collectors rely on professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC to determine a coin's grade on the 1 to 70 scale. A high-grade mint state coin, especially one with an error, has the potential to shock even seasoned collectors at auction. The difference between a common circulated dime and a pristine mint state example can be tens of thousands of dollars. There are fascinating stories from collectors who have come across valuable error coins in the most unexpected places. Imagine opening an old coin jar that's been sitting in a relative's attic for decades and discovering a dime that looks a little unusual. At first, you might not think much of it, but under closer inspection, maybe the date looks doubled, maybe the lettering seems slightly off, maybe the strike seems misplaced, you realize you could be holding a coin worth over $50,000. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors searching through bankrolls, checking pocket change, and inspecting every dime they come across. The 1984 dime isn't just about rarity and error, though. Its value is also tied to the broader story of American coinage. By the mid-1980s, coin collecting was enjoying renewed attention, with errors and varieties becoming especially popular among enthusiasts. The U.S. Mint had vastly improved its quality control since the mid-20th century, but mistakes still slipped through. Those mistakes, once overlooked, became the treasures we talk about today. And the 1984 dime has become one of those coins that sparks excitement because of its unexpected potential. At auctions, when one of these rare 1984 dimes appears, the atmosphere changes. The bidding might start modestly, perhaps in the hundreds or low thousands, but as soon as collectors recognize the error or the coin's high grade, the competition intensifies. Bidders know they're vying for something that doesn't come around often. The price climbs $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 until finally it reaches that extraordinary level, sometimes soaring to $55,000 or even as high as $128,000. When the hammer falls, the coin has not just been sold. It has become a legend in the numismatic community. Think about what that means for everyday people. Right now, somewhere in circulation or stored away in forgotten drawers, there could be 1,984 dimes with rare features waiting to be discovered. The average person might pass over them without a second thought, but those who take the time to look closely could uncover something life-changing. That's part of the magic of coin collecting, the possibility that treasure could be hiding in plain sight, in your wallet or coin jar. Collectors often describe the thrill of discovery as addictive. Each dime examined, each roll searched, carries the hope of finding that rare example. And the 1984 dime continues to inspire that hope, because the possibility is real. Every so often, a new example surfaces, reminding everyone that extraordinary value can be found in the most ordinary-seeming places. Beyond money, though, the coin carries meaning. Roosevelt's image serves as a reminder of resilience and leadership, while the reverse imagery of the torch and branches symbolizes the enduring values of liberty, peace, and strength. When you add to that the possibility of hidden rarity, the coin becomes more than metal. It becomes a piece of American history, a symbol of perseverance, and in rare cases, a financial windfall. So what's the takeaway? Never overlook the humble dime, especially those from 1984. It's easy to dismiss them as common, but careful eyes and patience can reveal a fortune. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who's just curious about the coins in your pocket, the lesson is the same. Pay attention to the details. Look for doubling, misstrikes, unusual surfaces, or any detail that seems out of place. Those details could mean the difference between 10 cents and over $100,000. The next time you come across a 1984 dime, pause before spending it. Inspect it closely. You could be holding something with the potential to change your life, something worth far more than its face value. In fact, with some of these coins already known to fetch between $55,000 and $128,000, it's a reminder that hidden treasures exist, waiting to be discovered by those who take the time to look. The 1996 one-dime coin might seem like one of the most ordinary coins in American currency. After all, the dime is something we all know, lightweight, small, and easy to overlook. Most people barely glance at it before tossing it into a change jar or slipping it into a vending machine. But what if I told you that a 1996 dime, under the right circumstances, could be worth far more than just 10 cents? What if I told you that some versions of this coin have been valued anywhere between $4,800 and $120,000? Suddenly, the dime in your pocket doesn't feel so ordinary anymore. The story of the 1996 dime begins with a significant anniversary in U.S. coinage history. That year marked the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt was not only remembered as the president who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II, but also as a leader who fought tirelessly against polio. His connection to the March of Dimes campaign made the dime a fitting tribute to his legacy. By 1996, the dime had been in circulation for 5 decades, and the U.S. Mint decided to do something special to celebrate the milestone. In addition to the regular 1996 dime coins minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the Mint also released a special 1996 W dime. This coin was struck at the West Point Mint with a W mint mark, making it the first Roosevelt dime ever produced at West Point. But here's the twist. The 1996 W dime was not released into general circulation. Instead, it was only included in the 1996 uncirculated coin sets, making it a limited mintage collectible right from the start. With fewer than 1.5 million of these coins produced, compared to the hundreds of millions of regular 1996 dimes, it became an instant prize for collectors. While the 1996 W dime holds strong value as a collectible, the real surprises come from rare minting errors among the 1996 dime coins. These errors are what can take a coin from being worth 10 cents to being worth thousands, or even over $100,000. The idea that a coin produced in such large quantities could contain hidden treasures keeps collectors excited. Some of the most desirable errors from 1996 include double die obverse varieties, where the lettering or date appears doubled because of a misalignment in the minting process. Collectors also prize off-center strikes, where the design is visibly shifted and part of the coin remains blank. Other extraordinary errors include dimes struck on the wrong planchets, like those intended for a foreign coin or even a penny. These rare errors don't just happen every day, and when they do, they create coins that are literally one of a kind. Imagine finding a 1996 dime that looks just slightly off. Maybe the letters appear blurry, maybe the coin seems oddly thin or thick, or perhaps part of the design is missing entirely. That small difference could mean you're holding something worth anywhere between $4,800 and $120,000. That's not just a valuable coin. It's a discovery that could change your life in an instant. Think about it. A coin so many people would overlook without a second thought has the power to hold the value of a luxury car, a year of tuition, or even a serious boost to your savings. The 1996 dime is especially fascinating because it bridges the world of ordinary circulation coins and modern numismatic treasures. On one hand, billions of regular Roosevelt dimes have been produced over the decades, making them one of the most common coins in America. On the other hand, the anniversary year introduced the West Point dime, a deliberately rare and special issue, alongside accidental minting errors that skyrocketed in value. This combination means that anyone, whether a dedicated collector or someone just checking their spare change, has a reason to take a closer look at any dime dated 1996. What really adds to the excitement is how stories of rare finds continue to surface. Collectors and even casual hobbyists have pulled 1996 dimes with unusual features out of circulation, proving that treasures still exist in the most ordinary places. A coin jar in someone's attic, a roll of coins from the bank, or even change from a store could contain one of these rare dimes. For those who love the thrill of the hunt, this makes every 1996 dime worth examining. Collectors know that condition is everything when it comes to value. A 1996 dime in pristine mint state condition, certified by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, will always sell for more than a worn example. Add in an error and the value can skyrocket. That's why many collectors recommend inspecting coins carefully and sending potential rarities for grading, because the difference between a dime worth 10 cents and a dime worth six figures often comes down to authentication and condition. There's also a deeper level of appreciation for coins like the 1996 dime. For many collectors, these coins represent more than just money. They're pieces of history. The 1996 dime tells a story of Roosevelt's legacy, the U.S. Mint's milestone celebration, and the quirks of the minting process that sometimes turn everyday currency into priceless artifacts. Owning one of these rare dimes isn't just about value. It's about holding a tangible piece of American history in your hands. When you consider how much value can be hidden in such a small coin, it's easy to see why people are captivated by the 1996 dime. The leap from 10 cents to $120,000 is staggering. Think about how many times you've brushed past dimes without ever looking closely. What if one of them had a double date? What if one of them bore the small but powerful W mint mark from West Point? What if one of them was struck on the wrong planchet, making it one of the rarest coins of its kind? That's the kind of what if that drives collectors to keep searching. And it's not just seasoned numismatists who benefit. Stories abound of everyday people discovering rare coins without even realizing it. A person cleaning out a relative's coin collection might stumble upon a 1996 W dime tucked away for decades. Someone opening a roll of coins from the bank might notice an off-center strike among otherwise normal dimes. These moments prove that the possibility of finding treasure isn't reserved for experts. It's something that can happen to anyone. The excitement builds even more when you realize how competitive the market for rare 1996 dimes can be. At auctions, collectors can drive the prices higher and higher, each determined to add a unique piece to their collection. The emotional connection, the rarity, and the sheer demand all come together to push these coins into astonishing price ranges. That's how a dime can cross into 5 or even 6 figures in value. For anyone listening, the takeaway is simple. Don't underestimate your change. The dime you ignore today might be the very one that could change your life. Check every 1996 dime carefully. Look for that small W mint mark. Inspect for doubling, off-center designs, unusual weight, or even a completely different look that hints at a wrong planchet error. Because hidden among the ordinary, there could be a coin valued anywhere from $4,800 to $120,000. So the next time you hear that little clink of change in your pocket, remember that even the smallest coin can carry a massive surprise. The 1996 dime is proof that history, rarity, and value can hide in plain sight, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to uncover it. What looks like just another dime could actually be one of the rarest treasures in modern U.S. coinage. The only question is, will you be the one to find it, or will it pass right through your hands without a second thought?